Actually, ROI is more of an input. It tells you the extent to which something will pay back, but it doesn't tell you whether it will generate better gross profit. It's about a mix of the different activities they use, the choices that you make, managing for long and short term. So it's much more complex than just using ROI as one single measure.
Campaigns are generally, not always, but generally becoming less effective. And ironically, that's because of a growing focus on ROI. And for some marketers, they might say, well, that doesn't make sense. Why would a focus on ROI, overt focus on ROI, lead to such reduction in effectiveness? And of course, the answer is that the R in question is an immediate one that's demonstrable within a short-term period. And that doesn't play out over a longer period to be for the good of the company.
Many businesses use ROI as a key measure of success. However, the problem is that it's a measure of efficiency, not a measure of total effectiveness. And what we find is that there are diminishing returns, and ROI really is just a point on a curve. So if we take the example of if you're investing £2 million and you're getting a return of £20 million, then that gives you a really impressive ROI of 10 to 1. However, if you're spending more, let's say you're spending £5 million and that's giving you an ROI of 40 million, that's a higher volume of profit but a lower ROI efficiency. So if advertisers are making ROI their target, all they end up doing is reducing their spend, increasing their ROI, but making less money as a whole.
If you live in the short term, you will die in the long term, and that is clearly an enormous amount of damage has been done to brands. And there's nothing wrong necessarily with ROI. It's a sensible measure of performance that I use regularly. But if it becomes your guiding principle for decision making, go, no go, media A, media B, creative A, creative B, it is insanely dangerous, because what it teaches you to do, if you are ROI focused, is to go only for the low-hanging fruit. You will go for the quick and easy wins in the sense of advertising and marketing, and you will walk away from the ones that take time to bring benefit, but ultimately bring much, much greater benefits to the brand and the business.
So I think efficiency and effectiveness are two very different things. For a growing company, your budgets tend to grow with the scale of the business, and therefore it is about effectiveness. It's how can I save money or make it more effective in order to put it back into the funnel. Whereas if you're in a slightly slower growing business, you'll get pressure from finance and the chief executive to look at how you can give money back. And I always feel it's really important to make the point that this money is driving revenue, and that's really important for the health of the business to keep focused on that.
So efficiency versus effectiveness is a great conversation to have. So efficiency, again, is historically where the marketing effectiveness teams have been, especially through a financial lens. And really, in order to be a great performing business and have longevity, you need to look through what I would always class as an effective lens, which is absolutely from the short term, great efficiency, what have we done through the ROI lens, but absolutely through a much longer term lens. Otherwise you will lose that bigger picture piece, and you will then become very short termist, and you are constantly on that, what I would class as a hamster wheel.
So probably in the past, the conversation on marketing effectiveness has focused squarely on return on investment. And actually we've said, yes, that's important, but it's important in service of driving more gross profit as an outcome. So we've made it much more centered on the outcome, and we've helped our marketing people think about the 4 or 5 measures that really matter most to the business and to their brands in driving that level of performance.
Responsible ROI is also about understanding the feasible limits of where you should be spending and being responsible around that. So with the theory that higher ROIs come from lower spend, and the more you spend, the lower your ROIs get, that's fairly standard. What we want to do is understand the point at which the ROI becomes low enough that it's untenable. So the best things we can do in marketing are spend to the point where ROI is good enough and still achieve the scale, which is really going to drive things like, sales in the long term, share price, all of those really good things as marketers we should be looking to drive.
One area that I would say is difficult is the whole area of brand equity. I think brand equity needs to be able to be connected much, much more strongly with the commercial value that it can deliver. And marketers need to have a much better narrative about that.
And I think the other thing is that marketers have tended to lack the language of the boardroom or the finance division within an organisation, and the finance division within an organisation has found it difficult to engage with marketers because they're very different disciplines and different callings.
Showing how marketing can help with the metrics that the whole business worries about is critically important. If marketing are using a currency that's different to the thing which is measured and makes money every week, I think that's a problem. So if marketing's taking out, it's fantastic on awareness, but actually conversion is the thing that matters, or retention, or longevity, or cross sales. The marketer's got to use the currency that's used generally in the rest of the trading meeting, or the exco meeting, or the board meeting.
So if you're going in and talking about things that are really important to you or the customer that don't marry up with the strategy of the CEO or the CFO or the board, then I think it's a harder challenge to overcome. If you sit back and understand and ask questions around what the pressures are for the board or the CEO or the CFO, you'll have a more fruitful relationship.